peculiar people.
All right, so today I'm joined by a very special guest who's going to talk to us about how you can prepare yourself for the job market. I know we've been affected in different ways, and as we're trying to make our way back into the job market, I think you will find this very resourceful. So I'm privileged to be joined today by Wambui and Victor, who is joining us from Reframe Advisory, and she's a very phenomenal coach, a very good person in terms of helping you to prepare for things like interviews, things like transitions, and all that. And we'll be hearing more from her. And so, one boy, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Victor.
Yeah. And we're looking forward to talk about interviews. Today, we're focusing on interviews and how you can prepare for interviews. So, I've talked to several people who just dread the interview. When they are excited to get the call for the interview.
Yes.
But immediately after the excitement, now comes the dread, the butterflies, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are some of the things in your experience that make people dread interviews?
I think it's primarily fear. That's been my experience, and it's been the experience of people that I have spoken to. Fear of the unknown. You do not know what will happen when you get there. So how do you prepare? Fear of failing. If that interview, if I do not get that job, what does that say about me? Fear of succeeding. Because many times in interviews, you are looking at reaching up higher than you have been before. You're applying for a job that will stretch you further. So there is also the fear of success, as odd as that may seem. And I think also there's the fact that you are entering, you do not know the people you're going to meet. You are not certain what questions you're going to be asked. So your level of preparation is not quote unquote a guarantee. There will still be a lot of factors that you only experience when you get there. So I think that's where a lot of the dread comes from. Yeah.
I like what you mentioned, that the fear of success is actually part of that.
It is. It very much is. I think because we do not enter into things with the understanding that we do not want to do well. You've taken yourself there because you want to do well. But also that doing well comes with a certain sense of responsibility. Will you live up to the impression you've created of yourself? Will you live up to their expectations of you? Are you going to be, is it going to be good for them that they relied on you? So there's certain responsibilities that come with success that do provoke anxiety.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can actually relate to that, because I remember there was a time I was poached, if I may, call it that.
Yeah.
And the dread for me was, what if I let them down?
Mm-hmm.
They've called me from wherever it is I was, and they were saying, you are the person for this job.
Yes.
What if I let them down?
Precisely.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I do relate with that.
Awesome. Yeah.
So how can people overcome, or maybe, I don't think even the question is overcome, but deal with it, because we're going for the interview. We still have that fear in us. We have done whatever it is we need to do the night before, 2 days before, but even in the interview, we still have this fear. So what are some of the things we can do to help us deal with the fear while still in that conversation?
One thing is the question of how you manage yourself emotionally. Because while you're in the interview, and this is a skill you learn, how do you manage the signs of anxiety? So when your body enters anxiety mode, when your heart starts pounding, your mouth goes dry, or you can't think of the word, you're looking for a word, you can't find it, how do you deal with the anxiety in that moment? That's an aspect of emotional self-management. And it's possible to prepare for that through role-playing, for example, in advance of the interview. There are exercises you can do to calm yourself down, so that even when you're in that space, you're still able to realize that something is happening within you, calm down, and then come back and be present in the interview. And those are the important skills, because also they will help you to manage the dynamics of the interview. Because you've already prepared, as far as hopefully you have prepared in terms of you've looked at the job requirements, you have developed case studies for how it is that you're the person that they need to meet each of those requirements. You're able to give a story of how you, for example, succeeded in dealing with a certain requirement in that responsibility in the past. So we are assuming that the hard skills aspect of the preparation has been taken care of. So now it then comes down to personal self-management in that space. So that if someone asks you a question you are not expecting, or if two people talk to you at the same time, how are you able to remain calm and centered and present? You do not get carried away by your brain screaming at you, you're doing badly, but you're able to just calm that voice down and remain present to deal with the situation that is happening in front of you. So it's actually a life skill, but it's very useful specifically in interview situations. Yeah.
So this is a life skill, something that we can use on a daily basis.
Yes.
But most also bring it to the interview conversation.
Yes.
All right.
I think it's like a lot of other things in life, in the sense that there are some basic skills that are applicable to all of life, that will be helpful to you in all of life. So preparation is one, to the extent that you're able to prepare, and prepare with excellence, but then secondly, learn how to be present. Learn how to manage yourself so that you're present in every engagement, in every conversation. So that is useful with interviews, it's useful with your children, but there are just certain basic skills that if you manage to acquire, as they serve you in all of life. Yes.
Okay. So I know the value of practicing presence in different scenarios, but for someone who does not know what we're talking about, presence, what is that? How would you break it down for them in terms of what it means and how they can practice it?
Presence is about, okay, I think we are all aware that there are times you talk to yourself. It's like there are two people inside you having a conversation.
Yes.
Or you can be undecided about an issue, which basically means that there is one part of you that has pros and one part of you that is being motivated by the cons of the situation. So presence is about being able to reach a point where you're approaching a situation with one voice within yourself, right? And it's not about you have all the answers. It's about the confidence that whatever happens, you will be ready for it, right? And it's primarily also about being able to quiet your self-judgment. Because a lot of times, what trips us up is when you're in a situation and the first thing that you do wrong and you lose it. Because now you carry that sense of, oh, I've already messed it up. And now it affects everything that comes after that. And so being able to quiet in the heat of the moment, that inner critic, that judge voice, and be able to come back to the possibilities that are still there in the situation, right? Come back to what brought you here in the first place and remain hopeful, remain expectant, remain engaged. That is primarily what we're talking about. Yeah, being present. Yeah.
I like what you say, that you can still focus on the possibilities.
Yes.
Still focusing on the reason why I'm here. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So now talking to a recruiter. This is someone who has candidates and they want to interview, and they're familiar with the fact that people are afraid. People are, and because they're afraid, they may not be able to communicate to their level best.
Mm-hmm.
So how can the recruiter help the person who's come for the interview so that they can be able to get the right information from them?
One thing that helps is the same process of presence. Because different people, different personalities come into interview situations with different approaches. So there may be those who are extremely competitive. There are those who are shy. There are those who are anxious. And I think first of all is, what qualities are you looking for in this person? And being very, very clear about not just their technical skills, but also their soft skills that you're looking for. Is this a position that requires extensive interaction with people? Is this a position that is not so much about interacting with people as much as it's being accurate with data? What precisely are you looking for? And then secondly, I think the move in interviews is toward working more with case studies and with trial situations than with cognitive question and answer. So basically, give someone an opportunity to tell you a story about a time that they used the skill that you're looking for. Probe the story. What was happening? How did the problem arise? How did you realize there was a problem? What was the first step you took? Because when people are talking to you about success, they will loosen up, right? And it will also allow you to, in the process of the back and forth conversation, investigate the interpersonal characteristics of the person. It will allow you to investigate their analytical capacity. It will allow you to identify what they prioritized when they were engaging in that situation. So stories and allowing people to give you their success stories is I think a very vital tool. Yeah.
Wow. So I like that we don't only have to rely on one format of interviewing, which is just cognitive question and answer, but we can use case studies and allowing people to talk about their success, and in that way we pick out what we're looking for.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Wambui, and we're looking forward to have more conversations with you, just to help people to prepare for the job market. Those who have interviews coming, if you have an interview coming, or if you're preparing yourself for life, it could be even starting your own business or talking to your potential customers. All right, we're going to be having conversations that will help you to prepare yourself accordingly. So thank you for staying tuned. And that's your peculiar discussion for today.
The Peculiar People.